Welcome in to another episode of the DNVR Rapids podcast. I'm your host, Mitchell Carroll, a.k.a. Myrtle, a.k.a. Happy United fan. And I am joined by three handsome boys. And we are going to talk some soccer. The superest of super producers. He's here. It's Yahya. How you doing, bud?
Chilling, man.
I haven't seen you in forever. It's weird. Usually I talk to you at work. This is when I'm actually talking to you.
Yeah, we haven't talked in a while, actually. Haven't talked to many people in a while. I've been up and down.
You're a busy boy. Well, we're glad you're here. I'm also joined by the art director of All City Network and certified Rapidsman, downtown Duane Brown.
What's up?
You're back.
Back. It's good to be back.
Let's go.
Let's go. It's good. Yeah. No, man, what a cool time for soccer. I know that some of it is Rapids, but man, we've got a new, expansion stuff happening. We got MLS playoffs, conference finals. We've got
Rocket.
A global tournament coming up. We got this dog.
What up, Rocket?
Living the life.
Let's go. All right. And of course, joining us for our run through the MLS playoffs, the man that needs no introduction, but I'm going to introduce anyways, is Joseph Samelson.
Thanks for having me again. I'm back. I'm ready to talk about the expansion draft. I'm ready to talk about how we all flopped in the conference semifinals in our projections.
Not great.
We did not do great in those last week.
Not great.
I go 3-4-4?
Did you?
No.
You might have. You were definitely better than me. I think I only went 50%.
Joseph went 1-for-4.
Oh, I went 1-for-4.
Yeah,
Okay, never
mind.
mind.
I had LAFC and Dallas, both of them.
Yeah.
But I did not.
And we were all wrong on Montreal.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyways, you're back. Joseph's back. We're going to get into the MLS playoffs, the conference finals, the big boys, the last remaining in the MLS. But before we do that, we have a little expansion draft coming up in a couple weeks. St. Louis City, of course, joining the MLS. There are what I thought at first were very complicated rules for how to protect your players.
This is actually pretty
easiest.
Simple. Yeah, this is.
It's honestly one of the most simple things the MLS does is how to protect your players in the draft.
So easy.
There are 5 teams that are exempt because Charlotte drafted from them. It's NYCFC. It's Joseph, you have that off the top of your head? I sent it to myself. But anyways, there's 23 teams with players eligible. You have to protect 12 on your roster. All your homegrowns are protected automatically, so they don't count towards the 12. And your Generation Adidas draft picks are also protected automatically.
The other teams that are exempt this time around are Austin, Atlanta, DC, and LAFC.
There you go. So, and you include NYC there, and they're all out. So 23 teams. You can protect 12 players. So we are going to predict who we think the Rapids are going to protect / who we want them to protect, / who we don't want them to protect. And we'll see what happens there. Any initial feelings on expansion drafts? I'm very pro expansion drafts and protecting. I think it's really, really rad. Joseph, go ahead.
Yeah. So first, to answer BR's question, these teams got picked last year. Usually the expansion draft happens in pairs, as in 2 expansion teams will enter the league at once. When that doesn't happen, usually the teams are entering in subsequent years. So what MLS does is they sort of treat the cycle, like the year cycle, as like one big expansion draft spread over 2 seasons. So to prevent those teams from being rated multiple consecutive years. That's why they're exempt this time around. My thoughts this time around is that last year I had a really difficult time narrowing down, I think, my final two protected slots from what I projected that year's draft would go. But this year on my first run through, I had 1 extra slot, which I think
a tough one.
I think it generally tells you that there's not a lot of teams that are not a lot of players that aren't homegrowns who are automatically protected. There aren't a lot of players who are worthy of making sure they're here next year. Like,
I think the Rapids are an interesting case because they're deep with vets, but not necessarily vets that you need to hang on to, right?
Exactly.
And definitely interesting candidates to be poached are these kind of fourth at their position vets that the Rapids have that could kind of stabilize a new MLS squad. Duane, what were your initial thoughts when I sent this over to you and what we're doing with it?
It went really fast for me, and then I got hung up at the end. I didn't have the extra spot that Joseph had. I was trying to decide between a couple players. Yaya and I actually were hanging out this morning and chit-chatting through some of it, and then I ended up switching things after talking to Yaya. Made some good points, and so
wow, you got help for your homework, huh?
I had help.
Cheater.
We got collusion. We got collusion on the left side of the screen today.
It's not cheating. It's just giving him it's tutoring.
No, it's okay. We're doing this as a team. We're gonna do this list as a team. So Yaya, what did you, Duane? What were your? I mean,
do you want me to bring up the list?
We're gonna talk specific players, but sure. I was just wondering if you had any overall thoughts about expansion drafts and the protections. And
it's just Rapids got to protect their core, and then they got to make sure which kind of players St. Louis is looking for. I think St. Louis is gonna try to target a lot of like more veteran players that played in the MLS, trying to give them a little bit of experience. So like some of my big worries are like, I thought Brian Acosta was automatically off that list of protection because I don't think a new MLS team wants a guy that fiery that could maybe cause some problems in the locker room. But one that really got my attention was like Beta Shore. I thought Beta Shore would be like prime pickings for St. Louis because he's a veteran. He's a veteran. He can give you a lot of good spot minutes, and I think he can play that Drew Moore role. And I think it's a worthwhile pick, especially for a younger squad and a new team in the MLS.
Sure.
A leadership is really important to, I think, any team, especially a brand new team. And I think we saw that with Austin. Well,
you notice Charlotte is a pretty vet-heavy team. They don't necessarily have star power there, but they're not the youngest team in the MLS by any stretch. So it'll be interesting to see how St. Louis approaches it, and we can kind of get into what we think their strategy should be. But let's pull up the first list, which is the players automatically protected. Oh, it's all on one list, even easier. So automatically protected are your homegrowns and your Generation Adidas players. So that's Abubakar Keita, Seb Anderson, Michael Edwards, Ralph Prizo, Darren Yappy, Ollie Laraz, Yaya Toure, Abe Rodriguez, Philip Mayaka, Austin Travis is in there, and who's the other one, Joseph?
Cole Bassett.
So the
Cole Bassett is technically
the two people who are not listed are Jackson Travis and Cole Bassett, who are both loaned out for the entirety of the year. But they're automatically protected because they're homegrowns and they're under the age of 25 or 26.
25,
whatever.
25.
Yeah. They're well within the cutoff. So
sure. I don't know how eligible they would be anyways, not being on the 30, but it doesn't matter because they're automatically protected. So it doesn't matter.
The 30 doesn't matter as far as the expansion draft is concerned because there's a lot of players like Brian Galvan wasn't on the 30-man roster this year because he was on season-ending injury list, and same with Keita.
Okay.
So because those players were off the 30 to begin with, it's functionally irrelevant, I guess, for this weird wonky MLS mechanism.
Right. Okay. Well, so then in the middle, so you have international players, and you have to protect at least 3 if you have 4 or more. If you have 3, you have to protect 2. If you have 2, you have to protect 1. The Rapids have plenty, so they have to protect at least 3. There's some very obvious ones on there. And then there's the whole rest of the pool on the right, which is going to be all the unprotected players. So between that middle column there, our international guys are Acosta, Max, Lucas, Brian Galvan, Jack Price, Danny Wilson. We have to protect 3 of those guys minimum, and then the rest of the pool is on the right. And really quick, Lawless, Barrios, Beta, Felipe, Clint Irwin, J. Lou, Marcanic, Drew Moore, who is eligible, Sam Nicholson, Keegan Rosenberry, Diego Rubio, Gustavo Vaisia, Colin Warner, Yarby, and Zardes. Now, not all those players even means they're going to be on the team next year. Their options might still get declined, but you don't want some of those. You don't want to lose the control of that. And I think that's going to play into some of this spot, right? So just be able to maintain the option to resign or anything like that. So let's start we have to protect 3 minimum of the international players. So let's just start right there. So I think the locks are Jack Price, Brian Galvan, and Max. Would you guys agree with that? Anybody object to that?
No, those are definitely locks.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's the 3 minimum there. Make a case anyone for Acosta, Lucas, or Danny Wilson? Anybody have a case for any of those three?
I got your case. I'm protecting every international because
Boo.
there's not a lot
I
of
did not have that on my list.
No, there's not a lot of there's not a lot of the rest of the pool that I'm like worried about protecting because I mean we saw this season. We don't need to relitigate it.
Sure.
But Danny Wilson, I will advocate for his protection because he's very good at doing one job and he has value, and the club just gave him a big contract. Or like a contract extension, not necessarily huge or out of the it's not like they overpaid him or anything, because
Sure.
I think he's getting paid what he's worth, but there's still value there, and his reputation as a Scottish player means that there's a potential that you could, I don't know, maybe get a fee for him, sending him, like if he wanted to go back to Europe. And there's also the thing where he's been here 3 or 4 years, which means he's in prime green card territory. He's about to become like he could become a domestic in the next year easily, before next season. So same with Price, and I'm saying the same thing about Price, really. So that's why I think those two are worthy of protecting. As far as Acosta, Acosta was the guy I burned my last protected slot on. So that's why I was between him and Zardes for the last slot.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're talking.
No, I know, but like that was just my thought process going through it.
Downtown Duane Brown, what are your thoughts after those 3 locks that we had?
I had those 3 locks, and then I had Lucas also on. And it's really a youth thing for me, is protecting some of that youth to build on. I thought he had a pretty good season, so he was the other one that I added. Did not have Acosta or Wilson, though Joseph brings up a good point with transfer with Danny. But I don't think the Rapids are gonna transfer Wilson. I think Porig is a big Wilson fan.
I agree,
but it's because he's a big Wilson fan that I think he's going to end up protecting him.
Yeah, he might. He's just not on my protection list, I guess.
Sure.
So, and what do I know? I'm just a dude on YouTube, so that's why I'm not a GM.
Yeah.
The only one that I can see why Joseph protected all the international players, like that. It's go with talent, I guess. They had some of the top tier talent as the international players, but the only one I really have a problem with is Acosta. Yeah. I don't think he has a lot of value out there in the market, honestly. And we'll talk about it, but him going down between Giossi and Acosta, and him choosing Acosta over Giossi is completely insane.
Why is that?
I agree.
We'll talk about it in the third, but I just think Acosta. I think Acosta is a worse decision.
I kept Acosta. Than Giossi. I kept both in my final list, and maybe we get to that later. But the only international I didn't keep was Danny Wilson, and here was my thought: he was bad this year, and I don't see a major bounce back coming. That's not really how aging works, or how, maybe it does. Maybe he comes back and has a return to his peak form. No, Vici is not an international.
Which I don't know how, but
I have no idea either.
Yeah, it might just be the roster's not fully.
To me, I get scared with this overhaul, because we know that center backs need. Well, we know. What do we know? But it feels like center backs need to be the priority for this offseason, right? And restructuring that defense. And Wilson is good enough where you can talk yourself into keeping one of those center back slots. I think Lawless is too. But if St. Louis City wants to take an aging, out of form, or not in peak form Danny Wilson off your hands and that contract off of your hands, I say go for it. I say let it happen.
Another thing for me is it's not so much me saying like, so like if Wilson and Acosta are not on my protected list, it doesn't mean that I'm like sending them out to pasture or anything like that. It just
Duane
means
hates everybody.
there's also a thought in my head of I think out of the other players, like these are the most likely we'd probably be able to still keep even if we didn't protect. So that's a little bit of my strategy going into it as well.
Interesting.
That makes sense, but I think Danny will be gone if he's available. I think
and that's fine to me.
Yeah, I think coaches look at players that had a bad form, like a bad year, and they look at the year before and he's like, oh, Danny was a great defender, he did everything right. They're like, we can fix him. He was in a bad situation last year. And I think that's just like how GMs and coaches usually think, that they're better than whoever is in charge of that one player.
Yeah.
So I think if Danny's made available, I think he's gone. And I think that's a bad idea to let Danny leave, but just because you want to have that flexibility, you want to have the options because you just never know what's out there. If you get rid of him so early in the process, you're going to force your hand in either having Gus start, try to go get a defender and overpay, or you're going to have Keita and Lawless back there. You have the Boubacar brothers.
Sure. And I don't think
Wilson has also been protected every single expansion draft since he came to Colorado.
I believe he will again.
Yeah.
And then I obviously doesn't want Acosta on there, but
it's not that I don't want
I think it's safe to say that all 6 will be protected. Is that safe to say, guys?
Yeah, I think he'll be protected. And it's not that I don't want him there. Like if I could, I would. But it's just more, I think he's going to get passed by more than any of the other international players. And I think that other slot's more useful in the rest of the pool.
Okay, well, go ahead and pull up the graphic again one more time. Okay, so to me, there are a few obvious locks, right? So let's put down Diego Rubio. Stop me if you have an objection to any of these. Keegan. Okay, so that puts us at 8. Yarby. Okay, that puts us at 9. Jonathan Lewis. Okay, that's 10. And this is kind of where it gets a little hairy. I had Zardes down, and I thought it was an obvious lock, but hearing that other people don't, I think we can open it up now. Who do you guys have for those last 2 spots?
I have Giossi.
I have Gus. Sorry.
Yeah,
but that's fine.
I have
wait, when you say you have, are you leaving Gus exposed or are you protecting him?
No. I would protect him, but I don't know if you guys would consider that a lock or not.
I don't think Gus. I think Gus is the most obvious. Gus is the first player I struck out to leave exposed on this list.
Interesting.
What? That
there's no
today, my guy.
I don't think, because we haven't seen a single good game from Gustavo Vallecilla all year.
That is a lie as well.
Not true.
That's not true.
It is totally true.
No,
it is totally true. What good game? Give me his good game.
The Philly one. He did pretty well in Philly. That defense.
The Philly game, they lost 6-0.
Yeah, and he
got a red card.
And he got a red card.
He also did pretty good in that FC Dallas game where he got
that's
the red card
a hotter take than anything I've said.
No, the thing is, he's had some good games. Saying that he hasn't had any good games,
I just think
weird.
No. He has No, go ahead.
I didn't expect to see. I'm honestly flabbergasted that any of you have Vallecilla protected, because you want to talk about a player that's unlikely to be picked up by anybody else. Vallecilla is the guy. Is nobody's going to touch that after this season. Enormous contract, long contract, and terrible this season.
You think
there's no one who's going to pick him up.
What's he getting paid? You say it's an enormous contract.
I guess it is a U22 contract, so it doesn't.
Yeah, he's not getting paid that much.
But I don't think anybody will want to force themselves to have 2+ years of Vallecilla guaranteed.
Because when the trade was made, kind of the MLS Twitter speed was Rapids has it. Like it was a steal. This is a build block piece. This is a guy that you can keep on a cost controlled contract and grow into a role. Are
just
you
saying, like,
already
when,
out in a few months? You're already you don't think the ceiling is still there?
no, I don't. I'm not saying there isn't like something there. I just don't think it's worth. I think there's other players that have value you want to
Sure.
protect. I guess I could hear the argument that there was some reported interest from
Mhm.
Ecuador earlier this year. Maybe
Mhm.
maybe you want to keep your ability to sell off that contract. But honestly, like from a playing perspective, I didn't even see like potential from Viacia that is worth like
Wow.
using one of these slots. It was one of the first players I went to this list and I crossed out because
The thing-
how I do this every year
That's-
is I just go through and I cross out the people I'm okay with being exposed, and he was the first one.
But the thing
Him and
about
Sam
Viacia,
Nicholson, I was just like,
Viacia is the same thing with Danny Wilson. Viacia had a good run with FC Cincinnati. He was well liked. There's a reason that people wanted him. There's been rumors that the Rapids were not the only ones interested in him when he got traded.
Did he have a good run on the league's worst defense last season?
Yeah. Good players can play on bad
Yeah,
defenses.
there's plenty. That's like
Yes.
how good of
Come
a
on.
player doesn't matter of how good your team is. Like that's invalid. Just because like there's plenty of good players that play on horrible teams. Like a lot of
San Jose
LeBron
is
James,
terrible,
like,
but
yeah,
Visa is awesome.
LeBron
Yeah, but he's
James-
not a defender, and San
Okay,
Jose's
but that's
worst
not
part
what
of
my
their team
point
is their
is.
defense.
That's true.
but the thing is, like, that doesn't mean much because they could be covering every assignment, but they can't cover every player on the pitch. And the thing is that Viacia has value from the past, and that's why you got to realize that maybe they're not looking at his Rapids tenure; they look at his whole career, and they're like, "This guy is young. He's shown flashes in the past. We can mold him something here." And that's one of the reasons I am always protecting him, because even if he might not turn into anything, you got to be aware that there's a possibility.
Yeah, and like the whole sell on thing, I'm surprised that you value him so low that you wouldn't want to keep him around just in case you want to sell on. I think that's wild. You just watch him out there. He's clearly the most physical player on any field he's on. There's no one close to him physically, size, strength, and I can't believe you're that out. I really can't. That's crazy to me. That's absolutely crazy to me.
Listen, I think this was probably like me pulling a Duane here, right? Where I don't want to protect him, but I'm pretty sure that Porig is going to end up protecting him.
Sure, he's going to.
Because of how much they put on him. But honestly, this is just a player like I've seen nothing from Viacia this year that tells me that there's a significant potential. I could be wrong. Listen, I could be wrong, but I haven't like he stunk it up in every game he was in. Like I'm just straight honest. Like I don't like dragging people like unnecessarily, but him and Sam Nicholson were fighting for me in terms of like the worst player who got significant.
Wow, dude, that is a take for me, dude. Sam for me clearly won that award. Like
Sam
that is
Sam took that.
Sam
running
had
away, in my
3
opinion.
redeemable games at the end of the season that were better than
Were
any
they?
performance
That-
via.
no,
No, I
that
was
is
not saying they were
dumb.
great. I said they were
Right.
redeemable.
What redeemable means how bad he was. His redeemable
yeah, don't
had
get
to
me
be almost
wrong.
like I'm playing for Barcelona in 2008.
I'm
That's his redeemable. Where he had to be like
I'm
in
not
the top
saying
3
I'm
players
not
in
saying
the world,
Sam
dude. Like
is great. Okay, I'm saying he was fighting for the worst player who got
no,
like
he wasn't
regular
fighting.
minutes with the
He
team.
knocked out
All right,
IC in
okay,
2
so
games
Gus-
in, my guy.
Gus not a lock. Okay, interesting. You want to pull up the
I
list
got
one more
Gus.
I think Gus is a lock. So, okay. If he's not one of the last 2 slots for you, Joseph, who do you have? Who are 2 that you're protecting here?
Joseph protected Drew Moore.
I'm not protecting Drew Moore.
Just in case.
I told you guys that I protected all 6 internationals. So the 6 that I have protected that are domestic are Abubakar, Lewis, Rosenberry, Rubio, Yarbrough, and I will be prepared to argue this. Michael Barrios.
Interesting. So you're
That's
leaving.
who I have protected.
So that means you didn't protect Giassi
No.
and interesting. Okay.
I did not expect to be on a fiery hot streak today with Joseph.
Yeah.
Like it didn't. I didn't know. I just didn't expect to
I
like
wanna hear
actually
Michael
be so
Barrios.
contradictory.
Honestly.
You want to hear the take about Michael Barrios?
Yeah.
Is that okay. You look at this team in terms of like players you can bring off the bench. I'm not saying you want to start Barrios next year, but you want to have the right to negotiate a better salary for him during this offseason. You want to take his option. You want to either take his option or extend his contract, because in terms of what he can bring off the bench, it's really good for the team. And good super subs are actually few and far between in MLS. If you look at a lot of teams, like who they bring on late in games, they usually bring on just homegrowns. It's usually what most
you're
teams
right.
do.
You're right there.
And having a quick player who can run like lightning for 30 minutes is very valuable. And I think he'd be a easy pick for St. Louis.
So I think
if he was available.
Barrios had his best moments off the bench. I think his best games of the year were off the bench. Or
so I think that's
sub-up.
worth it, honestly. And everybody else I see as either vets or young guys.
No,
the people I'm not protecting Beta Shore, right? Because he's a vet, and even if he gets taken, there's going to be a player of that caliber.
Your fourth outside back.
Right. Felipe, the Rapids don't even have him under contract for next season. Irwin, same deal, backup goalie. Marcanic.
That is where I was on the fence.
Yeah, that one, me too.
I had him protected originally, but you kind of talked me into Mikey B because I don't think Marcanic actually had any good games either.
I think he's good. I just don't think he'll get taken. I think St. Louis will just draft somebody. True. If they want someone.
It's not like he is.
And B-Ray, I protected prospect. 12.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. It's not like he's such a good prospect. So that means you're also obviously didn't protect Moore. You didn't protect Nicholson. You didn't protect Gus. You didn't protect Colin Warner. And you didn't protect Giassi.
I could be persuaded to drop Barrios for or somebody. I could be persuaded to drop somebody for Viacia now that I've really thought through the argument about his transfer value or whatever. But I'm not. Nobody else I was really worried about protecting.
Mikey B is one that I flip flopped a lot on, because the ideal situation would be Mikey B is protected. They take Sam Nicholson from whatever reason. They take Sam Nicholson. Now Mikey B is your backup winger, and you can go get another winger in the offseason, or even have Galvan in that role.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
So that's the ideal situation, in my opinion. Have Nicholson be taken and have Mikey as your backup.
Honestly, I would love if they took Nicholson's contract overhand.
Nobody's going to take Nicholson, but
I know no one is. Giassi is the one to me. Downtown Duane Brown. Did you have Giassi?
I struggled putting Giassi on. Not because of the player, but because of the potential windfall of money that we have to pay Giassi.
Sure.
We don't know what the contract will be, but I think he was making like 1.5 million or something.
That's right.
A year. And so depending on what the contract could be, plus depending on what he does for the Rapids, in addition to that contract and what we've already paid, there could be an additional 1.1 million that goes to Columbus. That is a lot of money for one player, who is not like what we're all clamoring for, and all the positions that we want to fill. And to me, that's a lot of money that you could spend on several good players, versus one player who I like a lot, but it's just so much money. And we're not a so much money club. So I really struggled to put him on the list. I'm
pretty sure the Rapids could go to Cincy and probably persuade them to trade Baji back to Colorado if you really want that.
I think that is also wild. You're comparing Baji to Zardes.
Yeah, I would rather have Zardes more than
a million times over. I just looked up a list, and I don't know if someone else has a name. Do you guys know who probably the best expansion draft pick is
of all time?
Yeah,
Zardes probably.
Zardes didn't. Zardes has only played for original MLS clubs. Fun fact.
Yeah, I think it's Latif Blessing. I think is the best expansion draft pick by LAFC.
Yeah, that could be.
I really do think that's so. And
I thought Tajiri Shradi was the best pick last year, but he got injured, and
could end up being the best pick. Right, Latif Blessing has the track. Since LAFC picked him, he's played very well. So you know what I mean. That, but what we're looking at. You're hoping the guy who hasn't made his name yet can turn into a starter, right? those are the picks. It's like the guys that are 7th, 8th, 9th, maybe on your best players list because you're protecting some prospects who are probably below that, right? So hoping that you can mine a 7, 8, 9 level guy and develop better, right? I don't see St. Louis going for a Giassi because I don't think they want to pay him that much. But man, if he leaves, do they have to fulfill if they claim him, are they going to have to fulfill some of those financial obligations? Or is it just those are wiped away because they draft?
Those are
that's Rapids only, I think.
So it's only
Rapids.
So
it's
they
only if the Rapids sign Giassi to a multi-year contract.
Isn't it over 2 years though?
Huh?
Isn't it like if it's 2 years, it's okay?
It's
over
3 years,
2 years.
Yeah. I think it's a 3-year deal.
Yeah, I think if it's a 3-year deal, that's one.
And
but let's be honest,
at 3 years.
At Zardes' age, is he really going to accept a contract that's less than 3 years?
He might.
Who knows? I don't know.
He might also
my
just
thing
be
with
thinking about
Giassi
giving it up.
Is he might not want to go to an expansion club because they end up being the worst team in the league for a while.
The other thing we don't know is that some of these players could have no trade clauses in their contract, which would mean that they would have to be auto protected. So that is one thing that we don't know about.
Yeah, with those secretive contracts.
The thing with Giassi though is that you gotta
just leave. Wouldn't he just go play in Mexico or Europe or something? Wouldn't he just like peace out? Wouldn't he just not play for St. Louis?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like you gotta protect Giassi because you gotta keep that option in case he does get picked. He is a player in the most valuable position in all of soccer, a striker, especially one that got hot at the end. And you just got to make sure you have that option to keep him on your team next year, because having all those options will make it easier you going forward.
It's an interesting one. Okay, so I think with our final list, against me if I'm not. Okay, so Max, Galvan, Price, Lucas, Wilson, Acosta protected. That's 6.
Yeah.
I could unprotect Acosta to get Viacia on there. I think you guys actually convinced me that Viacia
let's do that.
Worth it to
so we'll
protect.
Take him off and add Gus. Okay, so that's Max, Galvan, Price, Lucas, Wilson are 5 of our 6 international players. That leaves 7 spots. Diego Rubio, Keegan, Yarby, Lewis, Gus. Okay, that's 10.
2 more.
And then we said Barrios. And then that last spot can be Giassi, it can be Markinek, it can be who did you have in that last spot? Joseph.
You. Oh.
Max, Galvan, Price, Lucas, Wilson, Rubio, Keegan, Yarby, Lewis, Gus, Barrios.
So I have Max, Estevez, Galvan, Price, Wilson, Abubakar, Barrios,
you had
Lewis, Rubio, Yarbrough. Oh wait, do I have an extra spot and I just didn't realize it? Oh yeah. Then
did you guys say Lawless?
I had
Lawless on that list.
Lawless is on my list.
Yeah, Lawless is on that list in my opinion.
So our list right now, we either, based on what we just said, is either Zardes or Lawless.
Lawless. I just made the argument for Giassi, but
the thing for me is our list reflective of us, or is our list reflective of what we think the Rapids are going to do?
I think
to
it's
me,
a
this makes
combination
the
of
most sense for what the Rapids are going to do.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of combination.
Because
what should we do?
If it's what the Rapids are going to do, then Wilson is protected. Do
you think Porg's going to go and get Zardes and then not try and keep him around the season?
Yeah, I don't believe that.
They did that with Baji.
That's true. Baji's nowhere near the level of Giassi. It's not close.
No, I know, but
and he did not contribute.
You can't compare those. It's not.
No, I know, but like you just be like, okay, so think back to a player like Gashi, right? Where back when the Rapids got Gashi, Porg was only at like the number 2 level in the FO, and Porg wanted them to only bring Gashi in for 1 year on loan as a DP, and they signed him as a DP for 3 years. So I'm saying just because a player is a big name and just because he's being brought to the Rapids doesn't mean that
there's a guarantee
he's guaranteed for the future, or that they want him for the future. It could just
Okay.
And I could hear the argument that
that's me, but sure.
I mean, I could just hear the argument that you got Zardes because all of your other striker targets or your forward targets fell through during the offseason or during
Sure.
the spring.
Okay, we'll wrap it
And-
up here. Pull up the list real
yeah.
quick. So we're going to leave protected from this list. We're going to leave exposed. Sorry. Brian Acosta, Beta, Felipe, Clint, Markinek, Moore, Sam Nicholson, Colin Warner, Giassi Zardes. Interesting.
I think we
I think
we got
nailed
our
it.
math somewhere. I think we have one more spot. Because if we have the 5 internationals and then Abubakar, Barrios, Lewis, Rosenberry, Rubio, and
Yarborough.
okay. Yeah. I see
Yep.
it now. I see it now. Sorry,
There we go.
I can't
All right,
math.
interesting. And this is due, I believe, the 10th of November. So we did kind of jump the gun, but it was something that caught my attention. And I'm really glad we kind of got to talk it out. And it also kind of frames where the roster's at for the offseason and kind of where you think priorities lie and kind of foundational pieces for the future. So that's a good little talk.
Real quick on the Jossie
Yeah.
thing. Also, it's also you can leave him protected and he can leave and save yourself some money. And you can just put Rubio at that 9 spot, bring in Galvan at that 10, maybe get Coke pass it back and put him at the 10, put Galvan out on one of the wings, and now you have an attacking 4 of Bassett, Rubio, Galvan, and Jonathan Lewis.
Interesting.
That doesn't sound bad either to me. Like
This
it sounds
is-
speedy.
This is the morning talk that
Yeah, literally, like what does happen, and how can you maneuver your way into getting good players back? And maybe you keep Felipe if Bassett doesn't come back, and now you have another 10.
Love it. I'm okay. Man, this is interesting. We'll look back at what our final list was when they announce it on the 10th or maybe before, but they tend to wait till the deadline on everything. So that's probably when we'll know. They'll only know when.
For now as well,
Yeah. So
They don't even have to announce roster decisions until the 14th of November. So
the 14th is just options. Actually, I think the 16th is free agency.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah, but the
Am I
deadline to submit a bona fide offer to a free agent player is also the 14th.
Interesting.
And they
All
have
right.
to tell
So, yeah, the
us.
14th.
They have to
Yep.
tell us who they submitted those offers to.
Interesting.
And there's a trade window before that, so I don't think they're going to make any official finalizations before they have the chance to maybe one of the players that they have an option on, they can trade and get somebody else or something. So there's no.
We were
reason
talking
to-
about that, me and Mitch yesterday too, real quickly. We just kind of spitballed that maybe I don't want to say the name, but maybe one of the Rapid Star players is on the way out.
I think so too. Okay. We'll get into that when we do our off-season preview. For now, we need to talk about the homies at Avaca TV. We're about 15 minutes behind on that one. No worries. Avaca is the new GOAT in Colorado sports. That is the greatest of all television. Avaca TV delivers amped up sports coverage for Colorado fans featuring altitude sports. Nugs and Avs, baby. We're back. In AT&T Sportsnet, you get some rocks, get some DU, get some all sorts of collegiate coverage over on AT&T Sportsnet, and you get the most regional content for the lowest price for sports in Colorado. That's Avs, Nugs, DU, CSU, UNC, and MSU Go Roadrunners. Guys, did you know that our DNVR Nuggets crew went to Serbia? I know you keep forgetting, Yaya. Did you remember this time?
I did it only because I got bombarded with Ivaca email saying that 1,000 Threads is premiering tonight.
Yes. So they went over to Serbia, the whole Nuggets crew and RG, and they want to learn more about the history and culture of a country that delivered the city of Denver a 2-time MVP. They recorded the entire trip for a documentary that's premiering exclusively on Avaca TV tonight, 7 p.m.
In about an hour.
That's right. DNVR and Avaca TV have teamed up to create exclusive premium content like this 90-minute documentary on Nikola Jokic, Serbian basketball history, and DNVR's adventures through Belgrade, Sombor, and more. You can watch it by going to avaca.tv and signing up for just $25 a month plus a $5 receiver fee. This is the coolest. It's so cool. I've seen bits and pieces. I haven't sat down and watched the whole thing, but it premieres tonight. It is as cool as it gets. Definitely sign up for Avaca. We have our DNVR channel on Avaca. You'll see shows like this on there, post-game shows, pre-game shows, but you'll also see this documentary on there for the next month before we release it publicly to everyone. So if you want to check out 1,000 Threads, head on over, go to evaca.tv/DNVR. That's evoca.tv/DNVR to watch your favorite Colorado sports teams and original DNVR content. Thank you, Avaca TV. Okay.
B-Ray really wants to know what we're
Sorry,
talking
B-Ray.
about. Yeah.
You gotta wait.
You gotta wait. You gotta wait. All right, but for now, this weekend we get conference finals. You guys, it's pretty exciting. I mean, this has been a really, really fun playoffs. I have had
Chalk City, though.
so much fun watching these games. Yeah, but you know what? It's funny because chalk is fun because we never get chalk. You end up with these 4-5 matchups and these you end up with lower level teams in the pecking order, and now you have a conference finals with bangers. These are bangers.
NYFC is the only one that I'm pissed off is there. Like, honestly, I am genuinely pissed off. Like,
you picked them to lose twice, and they won twice.
And I'm
so
pissed off.
There. Let's start in the East. Number
Can
one
you guys,
seed.
Just a quick side note.
Oh,
we were talking about expansion draft, the best picks of all time.
Sure.
Did you know? I forgot that Nashville selected Brandon Vazquez and immediately traded him for guess how much allocation money?
What?
150K allocation to Cincy.
Jesus.
Could
you imagine Mukhtar and Vazquez together? Could you imagine Vazquez in that Sapong role? That would be unreal.
I can't believe that they sold him that quickly. That's insane. I forgot about that.
That's terrifying.
The best expansion pick ever. Honestly,
well, they traded him out. I don't know. I don't think I count. I don't think.
I think it counts. It was drafted. He was drafted.
It's our boy. It's our boy. Blessings. Okay, so we're going east. It is the destruction machine, the unstoppable offense and an unstoppable defense, and the best goalkeeper in the league, Philadelphia Union, hosting NYCFC. Joseph, you gave me a look. What was wrong about that statement?
Oh no, sorry, I was just looking off.
Yeah, okay, sure.
I'm sorry.
Horrible looks.
You're unreliable.
I suspect that all four of us are going to pick the same thing here, and it's Philadelphia. But is anyone here bold enough to pick the upset and want to defend that?
I just want Philly to win because I'm there as a fan. I'm there as I think that they are legitimately the best team in the league, and I think it's silly to. Yeah, I think it's silly to argue against them.
They might be the best team in North America.
They are.
They might be.
Duane,
they're really good.
Duane, do you have any NYCFC hope at all?
No, I have Philly 3. I have Philly 3, New York 0.
I love that. I think it's a clean sheet too. I think it's a 2 or 3-0 win. I think Philly cruises.
I'm just so pissed, dude. How does NYC keep backing their way into these situations? Like how?
No Magno for this run.
Like no Tati too, because he left midway through the season. It's just like I'm so mad, dude. Like I just hate New York with a passion, and I hate that they keep backing their way into these stupid situations where they're in the Final Four. Last year they won the championship, and all for what? For a 10x10 banner that says NYFC Championship. It's the dumbest shit ever, and I hate it. It pisses me off, dude. It's like the worst thing about like the MLS that NYFC is an actual thing. I hate the Man City connection. I hate everything about them, dude. They're like
I hate the entire New York market. How about that,
dude?
How MLS has handled the New York market is just pathetic to me. Like I hate it, and I hate that the Cosmos are not in MLS. I feel like
let's go ahead and hate it all together with a clean sweep. Philly to win. Philly to win.
6-0.
I gotta say my championship is still intact. So there you go.
Uh-huh.
Mine went out in the finals.
Yeah.
Ricky Pooch failed me.
What? You have one more?
MLS would die for an LAFC and NYFC final match.
Of course they would.
They would literally come on themselves and finish off. Like they're done. Like they're
Christ.
I'm sorry. Like PSA, dude. But like that's literally MLS.
That is the bluest this show has ever got. Oh
dude,
my
literally,
god.
Like any.
I was gonna say that they would kill for it, but you're over here like.
No, dude. It's a
all right. Moving west.
Moving west. This is a pleasure.
Moving west. For them. Like mute yourself. You're in charge of the sound. I'm just kidding. Moving west. Oh God. Moving west. We have the upstarts led by MVP candidates Aston Juicy. Austin FC is headed to the City of Angels to take on LAFC. I think this is going to be the best game of the playoffs. I think this is high scoring. I think it comes down to a goal in overtime or penalties. But I am picking my team of destiny, Austin FC, to go into LA and win. That's right. I'm calling it right here, right now.
I am also calling Austin.
Let's go, Duane!
But I don't think it's going to be as high score. I'm going 2-1. I think it's going to be real close, like you think, but I don't think it's going to be a shootout. But I'm going
it's 3-3 to
Austin
overtime.
2. Yeah, Austin 2, LAFC 1 for me. It's going to be a nail biter. It's going to be a nail biter.
I don't know if I can trust that.
All right, well,
Halloween
make your
Havoc
case.
in
Go
Los
ahead, make your case.
Angeles.
Star power, man. LAFC has way too much star power. They're good.
Has a
They're
1-1
really good.
ever made the MLS Cup final, Joseph? I don't think so, right?
Has a what?
Have 2 1 seeds
1-1
face each other?
I don't think so.
I don't think it's ever happened.
I don't think that's. I don't believe it could have happened in the early years back when the playoffs were really small. But I'm
Well,
not,
like
I'm not
eight
sure.
teams, like in total.
Yeah. But it doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's rare.
Here's. Oh yeah, sorry, it's Yaya's turn. But I have my
He-
picks ready.
Okay, so I'm gonna give if I think Joseph is picking LAFC, and I think he's
think so,
gonna back up my vibe test with stats. So
Yaya and I on the same side this time. Let's go.
yeah, so
Ugh.
I actually went 3-for-1 in the semis.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
No, you did not.
Yeah, because I chose LAFC, I chose Austin.
No,
and
you chose
so I
Dallas.
Oh, that's true. Oh yeah, I
And you
forgot
chose
it.
Montreal.
True. Yeah, so I went 2 for 2. So I'm better
You
than I
and me
thought
are
I
tied
was.
for first place right now.
Yeah, I thought I was. I
Joseph
thought I was
is
like,
behind.
yeah. But either way, it doesn't matter. My vibe pick is, I think LAFC just has it in the bag. They're not meshed together. They haven't played a lot together, and they're still going out there and winning. They're still going out there and
I
doing the
hate
things.
that.
I do hate it. It's an LA team. I hate LA teams. But the thing is, they have the star power. They have the midfield. They have the strikers. Like, they have the goalie.
Sure.
They have everything they need. And I feel like Austin is just like kind of mini collapsing
Mhm.
in games here and there. And I feel like
Okay.
a lot of these teams have not been able to capitalize on it. And I feel like if Austin makes the same mistakes as they've made in the first 2 rounds, I think LAFC is going to go straight up and just blow them out the water.
Future
Two
Rapid
things.
Arango's having a hell of playoffs. Gotta say, keep going.
Here come the numbers.
Two
Here come
things.
the numbers.
Number one.
Go fast, number 1. Go.
LAFC is in their last 11 home games. Do you know how many of those have been wins?
10.
10.
11.
That's right. 10 out of the last 11 have been
Looking through all
wins
this
for LAFC. And the
kinda-
only
I did
loss,
work.
the only loss was after they had clinched the Supporters Shield. Next thing is that Austin hasn't won consecutive matches since July.
They just did.
No, they didn't, because a shootout is a draw, Mitchell.
Nah, the
Austin
playoffs,
has
they
not
won.
won 2 matches in regular, 2 consecutive matches in
In regulation.
regulation. Yeah, since
What?
July.
They won. What are you talking?
they-
That's crazy. They
No,
won
they
the
they have
game.
not.
They're playing this weekend, and they played
Yeah,
last
but
weekend.
they didn't win the game
They
before.
won the game.
They
Yes, did.
won a
They played
shootout
last
after
weekend.
a draw,
But-
which is
oh
not
my
a win.
God,
It's
that's
never
insane.
counted as a win.
Oh, okay.
Joseph,
So
if-
the
Joseph,
World
if
Cup
they
goes to penalties, and
drew-
you say they draw. Come
if
on,
they
get out of
drew-
here.
No, you can win the
It would
World
be a
Cup. You just
three-team
don't
game.
win the game.
That's
It would be
insane.
3 teams on the pitch at the same time if they drew. But there's only 2, which means Austin won. They advanced.
That's
They
because the
advanced
MLS are
and
cowards
win.
and they refuse to
There's no-
Every cup competition on planet Earth does not award an official, like, you don't win the game if you
Joseph,
go to penalties. It's a
You
draw.
can
So
stuff
what
that one in a
happens? What
sack,
happens
brother.
at the final, Joseph? Are you going to say the final for the MLS Cup goes to kicks? You're going to say there was no winner.
No, you. There's a winner of the playoffs. There's not a winner of the game specifically.
That is
There
semantics.
is no fine.
to the
There's no
T.
fine print.
Blue
in
ribbons
wins
for
and
all.
losses.
No, I'm saying, like, the trophy's real. I'm not saying they don't
Everybody
win the
gets a
trophy or
as long as you
win the
go to
playoffs.
kicks.
They just
Well,
Logan, but
guess
this
what?
is soccer. There
That
is
would be a
time.
hell of a time to get that back-to-back dub, dude. So let's go.
Either way,
Verde,
I
dude.
am
Let's
expecting
go.
LA. You can't deny LAFC's home form. They don't lose at home when it
can.
matters, and
I
they're going to win
absolutely
this
can.
one. And it's
You're-
going to be we're going to get that chalk final.
There's no chalk
I'm done
final.
predicting.
It never happens in the MLS. Ever. Oh my God. Does that mean Philly's going to lose? Are we getting Austin,
No,
NYCFC?
No, we're
I
getting.
would- that
Mitch, don't let Joseph's fine print.
No. I'm
Ruin
saying that
the
we're
playoffs
not getting
for
chalk.
you.
I think Austin is going to win. I've predicted it for months, and I still think it's going to happen because I don't think we have a chalk final, and that'd be crazy if we did. This is messing me up. But now the most chaos thing would be for NYCFC to win. That would be the most chaos, and chaos happens.
I would hate this. I would literally kill it. I don't want.
All right, we're not going blue. All right, keep it censored.
But okay, no. But either way, I would really like. The thing is that I think Austin would have lost against Dallas if they had a legit striker. Ferreira is a 10. He plays more like Rubio because he goes all the way back.
You're right.
That Austin, no team has been able to capitalize on their mistakes against Austin so far.
Well, that's
Austin
how
has
you
made
win the playoffs. Is you
but
survive.
Exactly, you're right. But Austin keeps making mistakes. LAFC is really good at capitalizing on
Okay, but
mistakes.
what happens when LA makes a mistake?
They have a better goalie.
We'll see.
They have a better goalie than any
They
other
do.
two
You're right.
that they faced so far.
Yeah.
And even then, with those like okay goalies, McMath and I forget the FC Dallas goalie, they weren't able to get it through. They struggled. Even when they were up a man, they were struggling to get that goal.
What
we talk about
what
how
I'm hearing, this is what I'm hearing from these two. I'm hearing a lot of what ifs and crazy things.
What?
How is
I'm
that
hearing
crazy? Like,
if-
I made legit points.
Hold on,
they
let
had
him finish. Let him finish.
If they had a better striker, then they would have won.
Oh, then yeah.
Well,
You're saying
if
a lot
they
of what
had-
ifs
if
for
they had
Austin.
a robot
correct,
army
correct,
on the
correct.
pitch,
Not for
they would have
LAFC.
also won.
Okay, that is correct.
You know,
You are
so
correct.
this is what I'm hearing is a lot of what ifs for people.
The next
who are
90
no
minutes
longer.
are the only 90 minutes that matter, baby. It's
Yeah,
the
true,
playoffs.
Unless it goes
to
There's
extra
a lot of
time.
what ifs, which tells me
Yeah.
there's not a lot of confidence in your picks.
There is, because my pick, I'm 100% sure LAFC, and it's a Philadelphia final. That's my thing. I'm 100% sure. There's no doubt in my mind that Austin is gonna get
Whoa.
like lose that game. Like, I think Austin just makes too many mistakes, and they just can't get by. They got by against two decent teams, not good teams. The Rapids
Whoa.
literally dominated FC Dallas.
Whoa.
Rapids aren't in the playoffs, dude. Doesn't
Exactly.
matter.
But my
This is
thing, like,
more
you
what if.
analyze
This is a what if.
teams.
This is something that's not relevant to the
Irrelevant.
game at hand.
Irrelevant. They're
It's
not.
All right, we're
relevant.
split. We're split on that game. We're split on that
Yeah,
game.
you guys are on the wrong side
No,
of
no, no,
history.
no.
Me and Joseph are
We're
on the
not-
right one.
There
Give
is
me a high
no
five,
right
Joseph.
side yet.
There we
There's
go.
no history yet. It's not there. All right.
That was
All right.
beautiful.
Hold on. All right.
Everybody
All right.
needs to watch
Shut
this
up.
on YouTube for that moment between
Yeah,
me
we
and
me
Yahir
and
right
Joseph
there.
just
we
high-fived.
crushed that.
All right. We're split. I get it. All right. We had a whole nother segment that now we have to rush. Thanks a lot. It's okay.
MLS.
It's
Things are
spooky
being so
season.
fun to watch.
It's important. This is an important conversation. Halloween is on Monday. The spooky is here. And I wanted to have a full length, in-depth discussion
and we can't.
about the best horror movie villains. And now we don't have time for a full length discussion
because of all the what ifs and
because of
fine
all the
print.
bullshit what
great
if.
because
and
I don't
Yahya
Los
getting-
Angeles
Because you guys
Gross.
want to be on the wrong side of history. I'm
actually-
Yahya's talking about emissions.
I'm okay with
Sorry.
it because I have watched, like, I can count the number of horror movies I've watched on one hand, and I'm going to give you guys
Whoa.
a pick that you guys hate anyways.
All right, Joseph, kick it off.
Yeah, I just
Let's
want to know the
go.
numbers behind Joseph's pick.
Hal,
They're
9,000.
odd draws.
Those are my numbers.
What was it?
Hal 9,000 from 2001.
Whoa,
I've never seen
okay,
that movie,
okay.
actually,
That's
so.
that's not a great pick.
That's a
There's not
very
bad
It's an
pick.
it's an
It's an
evil
admirable
AI
pick.
that locks somebody out in space while they suffocate to death. That's pretty. That's pretty. I don't know. That's pretty
computers
balling to
run
me.
on numbers. This is the most Joseph pick that could have been.
That is about.
Like, I applaud it.
Yeah,
I
you're
applaud
right.
Super technical.
That is as Joseph
On
as it
brand.
could have
It is
possibly
on
gone.
brand, and I applaud it.
All right, let's keep going
The
around the
supercomputer is
clock
my
here.
pick. Yeah.
Yeah, my guy.
Oh, mine, it's easy. It's gonna be a Ghostface Killer from Scream. Love Scream.
Ghostface.
Super satire. I love the satire. I love the funny.
Scream rules.
A super like easy a super easy movie to watch if you don't like scary movies and you just kind of want to have fun during Halloween.
Sure.
And I love that you can watch it with anybody and nobody's gonna be scared, but you get a little bit of jump scares. And then at the end, it's always
Scream
the
rules.
dumbest ending. So
That's a great pick. Great pick. Duane. Okay, so this is okay. Duane is like goes to the Telluride Horror Festival every year. He just went. He turns his car into a Ghostbusters car. He is a Halloween guy. He's a spooky season guy. He's seen every horror movie ever made in the history of the entire planet. And he knows every villain, and he's gonna drop some.
Which is why my pick is going to surprise you.
Well, I'm setting this up so I can make fun of your pick if it's bad. So go ahead.
I'm gonna make fun of it no matter what because you're
It's
wrong.
not bad. It's terrifying.
Okay.
And that is not a villain.
Oh my God, the whole thing is villains.
Right. It's villain, but it's just you can't encapsulate it to one.
The
It is
government.
a world overrun by flesh-eating zombies. That is the most terrifying situation.
Zombies are your pick? That's pretty
yes.
good. Okay, well, which
Absolutely.
zombies then?
This
Pick
is
a movie
okay.
then.
I'm actually.
You can say which zombies? Which
I can
zombies?
get in a car and I can drive away
Give
from
me your
Ghostface
favorite
Killer.
zombie movie, Duane.
I cannot go to space and be safe from Hal.
That's true.
I'm
That's true.
doomed. I'm
Okay, well,
doomed.
pick a zombies then. Is it like Dawn of the Dead zombies? Is it like 28 Weeks Later zombies?
World War
Those
Z
are
zombies.
zombies. Those are
World
just I don't believe in
I guess they're
fast
mutants.
zombies.
Okay,
I don't
well,
believe in
then
fast-
who are you choosing?
like original George Romero slow zombies.
Slow zombies. That's
Yeah.
a
And you can't
terrible
beat
pick.
those. They're watching less than a mile per hour.
I can beat one of them. You can't beat 6 billion, Yahya.
I love zombie movies. I hate that pick. Oh my God.
Give me a bulldozer and just
Um,
watch me run over those dudes real quick.
Yaya's gonna be the first to go. He's not on my survival team.
Dude, if I go, I'm taking out like 10 zombies at least.
For sure. Well,
You're short.
man, we left
6
some. Let's
billion
just say we
minus
left some
10.
hitters on the board. I'm not choosing these, but there's Freddy, there's Jason, there's Michael, there's Hellraiser, Chucky. None of which are my picks.
Wolfman, Mummy,
Creature from the Black Lagoon, The Thing, The Blob. The Thing is great. It Follows is a really creepy one, I think.
Oh gosh, terrifying.
Hills Have Eyes. That's the scariest movie.
Those Hills Have Eyes ones are scary.
Have
me,
any of y'all
it's-
seen Midnight Mass?
Yes.
Yes.
That's
that good
That's
one
a
too. Yes.
terrifying. I'm
That's
not gonna
really good.
say. I'm not gonna say who it
Matt
is.
Saracen, shout out, is in that. But okay. To me, well, B-Ray Predator is a war movie. It's not a horror movie.
It's still villainous.
To me, my favorite horror movie is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
oh,
And as
terrifying.
the villain,
Good, that's good.
Leatherface is as
That's
good as
Excellent
it
choice.
gets.
I'm all
Yes.
for that one. I like that one actually.
Leatherface
That's a
is
good one.
The whole-
terrifying. He is a physical beast. He
He's a
wears
menace.
people's faces. It's terrifying.
Dude, and he has a family. Like it's a terrifying family.
Yeah.
Like
Can-
the whole
can-
thing.
Yeah,
It's
he has a
5 on 5.
support system.
Yeah.
He has like an
Yeah.
emotional support system.
Oof.
That's insane.
Yeah,
So
it's
real
good.
quick,
It's
5-on-5 side with the cast from Scream 1 against Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Who wins?
I'll take Jessica
Chains-
Biel.
Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah,
Massacre
Texas
every
Chainsaw
time.
Massacre.
Colorado's
win.
finest.
I'm
Jessica
glad.
Biel. Shout
The-
out.
the-
I'm on pod if you're listening.
The
If you're
people
listening.
from Scream are not like they're all victims.
Yeah, but they're more athletic. Everybody over here is old and they eat human meat, so there might be.
There were some
like,
athletic dudes that didn't make it out of Texas.
That's why I'm like,
Watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Anyways, all right. Yaya's got to run, so we got to do our plugs. That was our picks for best Halloween victims. Joseph,
Best Halloween victims?
villains. Did I say victims?
they're all victims
I
of
have victims
society.
on my head.
Being
That's
left
true.
out.
Yaya
They're
is
not
so
mental
wise.
They're not
state,
understood. They're not
Mental health
understood.
in this country is down the shitter. That's the real victims. Them for not having the correct mental health access.
Oh my god. Well, this episode really went off the rails. Joseph, go ahead
This
and plug
episode
away.
rocked. You guys can find me on Twitter at JSPSAM. You can also
Jesus
find my writings at josephsamelson.com if you're even listening to this podcast after the Apple censors have gotten to it. But yeah.
All right.
That's
Yeah,
me.
based Yahya, go ahead.
You can follow me on all my socials. I'll have more rated R takes in there. I'll throw in a little bit of that.
This was NC-17, my guy.
Yeah, this is a mature audiences only. Sorry if you guys have kids in the car. There had to be a way to explain a lot of my feelings today.
Oh my
Follow me on DNVR_Yaya. Anywhere you hear us, please give us a 5-star review. If you're not going to give us a 5-star review, just don't give us a review at all. That's preferred. Follow all my guys, at the Duane Brown, at Joseph, at Mitch_Carroll. These guys kill it on Twitter. They're really fun to follow. And just follow the DNVR Rapids account on Twitter as well.
Yep.
Tell us what you like, what you don't like, and we'll hopefully give you all the things you want.
True. Duane, go ahead, bud.
Yeah, everything Yahya said. Drop us a follow. You see all of our handles there on the screen. Support your local animal shelter. And hit up some merch in time for the big global soccer tournament coming up, and swing by
Big
DNVR
announcement
bar.
coming on that. Big announcement coming on that.
We got big announcements next week.
Next week. If you are going to a Nuggets game, to an Avs game, to a concert, to a DU hockey, maybe, whatever you're into, if you're getting a ticket for it in Denver, use Game Time. Use the link right there in the show notes. It is the cheapest place to get tickets on the secondary market, period. End of story. No discussion. So make sure you do that. Make sure you get your membership. We are coming down to the bar. Members get 15% off their bar tab every single time. It honestly is worth it to sign up just for that. Off your whole tab, 15% off just because you're a member. So get signed up. Come on down to the bar. Hang out with us. But more important than all of that, than Yaya's just vulgar rantings, than Dwayne's awesome dog, than Joseph giving us looks when we have crazy takes.
I think Joseph's house is haunted.